farther every time.
Not ready to play.
Got tickets for you if you'll let me know the dates. Don.
I think Mike.
You if you'll give me the dates. For basketball.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you once again for this opportunity to come together as the City Council and members of city staff and members of the public. We just pray tonight that we would, meditate on the fact that this is Thanksgiving week. Look back at the year that we've had and be thankful for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon us. The simple things we don't often think about, a roof over our head and a warm place to sleep, Lord, is many things that many people don't have. And so let's be thankful for that. And our friends and family and everything else this week. We pray that the decisions before us tonight would be made in a way that would be pleasing to you and that would benefit as many people as possible. We pray all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Runge.
Here.
Alderman Austin.
Here.
Alderman Jackson. Here. Alderman Pittman.
Here.
Alderman Urbis.
Here.
Alderman McComb. Alderman Strack.
Here.
Here.
And Mayor Stevens. Okay.
Here.
He is now.
All right, we'll get into our agenda. First, we have the consideration of council minutes from November 12th, 2024. And I'd entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Mr. Gladden.
On page 4, under Alderman McCombs, Alderman McComb did say that they had to order stuff at the sewer plant, but as he continued the discussion, it was mentioned that it was for a pump rebuild, and I'd like to have the
I'll get
minutes
that
notice
corrected.
that it
Sure.
was
Like,
a
that
pump
terminology
rebuild.
stuff doesn't tell us anything, does it?
All right, any other questions or amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, I'd have a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us into the regular committee and commission reports. Up first, we have budget finance.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one item under old business, consideration of ordinance amending the assessment fee for water service and the base minimum residential water rate. I didn't see
You have a copy of the ordinance?
it's here. Okay, yes, I did see that. So does anybody have any questions on the updated ordinance? That's what we discussed last meeting. No questions?
Move approval.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second.
Aye.
That motion will carry. New business, we have consideration of accounts payable registers, and we have 2 of those tonight. Anybody have any questions on the bill? No questions on the bills, and entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next item is presentation of financial reports by Scott Evans. Budget officer Scott's not here, but he did drop off one report, and that is the schedule of income tax receipt vouchers. Looks like November was another month, but a little bit less than last year, for the first time in a while. So, does anybody have anything to add about the income tax receipts?
That's what it is.
right?
Take what they'll give us.
Still trending well. And then next item is the consideration of the budget meeting. So we all have the first draft of the 2025 budget. And then Sandra, do you guys have some dates that like you've discussed already, or do
We
we
were
want?
thinking maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week.
Does anybody have any of those days that specifically don't work for them?
Tuesday does not for me, but that doesn't mean anything. So
What are the actual
Chance.
dates?
third, fourth, and fifth.
Tuesday's the 3rd,
3rd,
4th, and yeah, so 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah.
I could do, actually,
Huh?
we're still talking evening, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Mayor had proposed 4 o'clock.
I could not do the 5th at 4.
Yeah, I can't do the 4th. I've got a conflict.
It's, ultimately, we gotta have a quorum,
Right.
so I don't know if there's a date that'll work for everybody
Well,
necessarily, but.
usually the first, we're gonna do the heavy lifting anyway, and then leave some things open for some questions and stuff, so I think if we get a majority of us here on one of those
We're
days.
probably
I
not
think
gonna
we'll
vote
be
on the
all-
budget that
Right, no, I don't imagine so. We'll usually,
I don't think we've ever done it that.
no, we'll
No, I
get
don't
one
think so.
approved before that. To the
Way
council
over.
meeting on the last meeting of December usually,
Right, which that meeting.
and we have moved that around,
We haven't
correct? We
set a
haven't yet?
date yet,
Okay,
but I'd prefer not to meet on Christmas.
Christmas Eve, no, I'd rather not also.
I will not be here
Or,
on
New-
Christmas.
or
Eve.
New Year's.
Will be at my mother's.
I could do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday that week. What have you guys got?
Wednesday would be best for me.
I can't do Thursday, so Wednesday, Tuesday or
I
Wednesday.
can't do
Okay.
Tuesday, so.
So let's plan
said
on
at 4?
Wednesday at,
The 4th,
yeah,
At 4?
yep.
Okay, so Wednesday, 12/4.
I'll be a little bit late.
But I'll be here.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, we could say 4:30.
Yeah, I mean, is that all right with everybody if we do
It's fine
4:30?
with me.
That'll give me time to get here on time.
Yeah.
4:30.
Yeah.
And I'd say start making your notes now, so we
Yeah.
can move through that. We got, okay. So if there's no more questions on that, we'll move to the next item is consideration of resolution for DRA trunk line grant. I don't know, is that something?
This is a boilerplate resolution, that DRA uses, as a requirement of the grant to show that we're gonna fund, $54,000.
Our portion of whatever that is. Okay. And we just need a resolution.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
John, did you make that motion?
Yes, John did. And that motion will carry. Next item is consideration of line. So this is the line of credit that we've had for as long as I can remember, since before my time at the bank, and I started in 2012, and I don't know that we've used it since then.
We have not used it since.
$500,000 line of credit that's got the Dom building and the Youth and Rec Center as collateral and mortgages on those. I had gotten, it'll get the bank board approval at the December meeting pending our approval here of wanting to renew it. It would be 12
It's just up
months.
for renewal.
12, yeah, it's a 12-month note every time, we just have to renew it every year. It'd be 12 months at 5.27%.
What's the percent now?
What's that?
What's the percent now? that we have?
5.27.
No, that's the
Now,
new one.
it's,
Okay,
now,
I
I
was
think,
gonna
yeah,
say
I
it's
think it
similar as
dropped,
that.
yeah.
It dropped a little.
And the way we always calculate that rate is do our best rate, and then
Yeah,
the
I get that.
municipality
I
gets
know that.
79% of that, so.
I would make a motion that we keep that. I mean, it's always nice to have in your back pocket if something unforeseen came up.
Second.
And we have never had to use it.
We have a motion by Barb, second by Dawn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? And Gina, will you mark me as abstaining?
Yes.
And then the last item under new business is consideration of technology fee for cellular red water meters.
Tim?
Sure. I think I've discussed this in the past, we talked about. You know, the water industry is rapidly changing, and there's our system that we use now is becoming obsolete, not quite there yet, but it's becoming obsolete. And most communities have already adopted a system similar to this. But this, luckily we didn't get in early because there's been a lot of trials and things that proved to be expensive. And we kind of got it ironed out to where cellular is kind of the way they've gone. We kind of reached out to a company that came in, a company that we already currently are invested with. We have buy water meters from them, Badger Meter Corporation. we call them. These meters are cellular. The reason for that is, you know, we have more work now than we've ever had, and I've always kind of toyed around with needing an extra person. And over the next few years, we budget this just right. We'll kind of phase out the need for a meter reader, but at the same time, we'll bring that person into in crew, which if we don't seem to need that extra person, then we wouldn't have to replace being live. What do you get with this? Well, the customer is being proactive with their water system. They'll receive either a sign-in or an app where they can set parameters on their app. And let's say a customer uses 8,000 gallons in 2 months, and they can set parameters on their app at 8,000 gallons. And let's say halfway through, they've already used their 8,000 gallons, but they're gonna get a notification. Well, so will our office get notification. So we're able to get out and contact that customer, or the customer, if they ignore their own notification, they'll know that they've already used the amount of water for their normal consumption, let's say. And they can be proactive, and we can be proactive in water loss and having to deal with adjustments, like trying to adjust water bills down so the customer can afford it once they did have a leak. We can attack that early on with this system, this technology. Cost to the customer, we have decided on technology fees. Scott can speak to this. It's about a 92 cent per month, so it's like $12 a year. Not every customer will see this at first because it's going to take a long time. We're kind of, there's budgetary restraints, of course, to the system because we have to go through and change out, anywhere between 4,000 and 5,000 water meters, depending on how many connections we have at the time. That's the only downfall, but the pros far outweigh the cons, in my opinion. Let's put it for example, a meter reader reads meters, in most residential places, reads a meter every 60 days. If there is a leak or if the water reading is 20% or even 15% higher, that notifies us that they could have an issue. So we have to send a person back to that same address to see if there's a leak. Now, if there is a leak, contact the customer gets it fixed. Now, we can't give the customer a leak adjustment and then turn around the next billing cycle and have the same issue again. So we like to go out again another time to read the meter, and then again another time to read the meter to ensure that their daily consumption is back down to where it's normal, in their normal consumption. All that can be read by a laptop in either my office, Catherine's office, or Denise at the Denise station. So that's gonna cut out on what could be 5 trips to one water meter. Generally, our second read list depends on the route, depends on the usage at the time, but it could be anywhere between, a page is about 20 on a page, and it could be 2 to 2.5 pages. So you're thinking that's an extra guy going to always replace it.
How long would it take to, how long of a time frame are we looking before every meter is changed?
It looks like right now we're probably gonna be like right around 8 to 10 years, just to get started. The technology, or the initial purchase of the software is $25,000, which we did budget for that prior year, but we just couldn't find anything we were in love with and we wanted to bring to the council. We finally found this. I think this system beats us the best. We've been in contact with them, and it seems like they can go through Verizon, they can go through whatever the services are most prominent in the area of town. They can use all of it. And then we would be, depending on the amount of customers we had that were on the new meters, we would get a bill from them monthly. Or, I think it's monthly. We get a bill from them monthly.
But again, not everyone would see the benefit of this. It could take anywhere from 8 to 10 years to get it. to get
And the
it.
fee would just be charged to people who had the meters
Yeah,
updated.
Yeah, right.
What kind of fee is, what will it cost us to change one over?
Okay, so most of our, so there's two parts to a meter. There's a base, which is the
Yeah.
brass, and that's the electrical turbine, and then the top of the meter. So if you did a complete, it's $300, which is about $80 more than what we buy now. But the good news is that the majority of the meters that we have in place, I would say probably 90% of the meters we have in place, you just have to change the heads or the tops of the sensors.
So you don't have to replace the whole thing
Correct.
of
Which means
close to
quickly, yeah.
80% of them or more.
And is that something he will just do as meters,
Yeah, we'll do that in-house, you know.
or it will be
Like I
another
said, we'll
guy
be
going
restricted
out?
to budget, like, I don't know how many we get a purchase a year just yet, till after we're done with our budget, but, you know, we kind of figured 8 to 10, depending. But on a side note, I thought, Harold had called me today because he saw this on the agenda, and there are also, other avenues that we can explore in the future, once we make the admission, by the software, that we could apply for grants moving forward and maybe get a lump sum, like a 1% or, you know, like, I think you had said that.
It's the EPA loan program, which
Yeah.
carries a
Yeah.
50%, right now water's 50% loan forgiveness, so basically we're getting half, like we did on the water tank, we got a loan forgiveness on that.
What's it, I mean, technology changes so quick. If it takes us, say, 10 years to switch all these over, is it gonna be obsolete by the time we get to the last 1,000? And who knows? I know you're not prophetic. I don't mean that, but in all fairness, what's your gut feeling?
I think that it won't get any, I can't imagine what else it could be, I mean, everything's cellular
I
now.
mean, I don't think cellular's going anywhere.
Yeah, and
Eventually there
I
will be a
agree.
better-
I just,
I think the only technology difference we've made is that how it is now is basically why it's so cheap is that the meter itself stores all the data for the 24 hours. But the 92-cent fee is that it basically sends a text, it does send a text to our system 4 times a day. And we can decide when we want that to be, but it's 4 times. So you could have it at 5 in the morning before you come to work, before your computer up, and if you're dealing with a specific residence, you would know what that house did for the last 24 hours. And then you're gonna get an update again, say at around noon, and then before you go home. And then you can set the oven up for like midnight, you know. And basically, it just, it
is
doesn't.
this something that if someone is, that you can tell if they're using an excessive amount of water almost immediately
Absolutely,
because of those 4 times a day things?
absolutely.
Okay,
And not
so
only
if they
that,
don't know they have a leak and things are, you know, if you got any water on now kind of situation, they say, no, can you tell that they're losing X amount of day or hour or
Absolutely.
whatever, if they don't have anything running?
You wanna speak to that?
Yes, absolutely, we would be able to tell that right away. One of the great things about it is during the cold winter season, Tim and I are both really passionate about this, mostly because we're in the industry, but it's a really great thing to our residents as well, especially those who do end up having leaks, especially my customers. I had a customer who had a $1,000 water bill not too long ago and was extremely upset that we didn't have something like this in place that could have told her much further ahead of time that this was happening. So yes, to your question, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything else to add? So, I mean, so this is all contingent on if we put in budget the amount to purchase a certain amount of these meters,
Yeah,
and then the fee would be charged to the ones that get the meters installed.
Yeah.
And would we do every new service we put on, would we put, you know, that meter on plus a
Probably
way
would.
to do it?
That would be smart,
Mhm.
yeah.
But if adopted, you, Tim, will be our first customers. Because we intend to install one each of your homes, so that you can get familiar with the technology, and therefore, as this grows, you'll be able to, have conversations with your constituents, and, you know exactly how to use and give advice.
And I can see both sides of it, you know, you never want, you're obviously gonna have some people that are even at 92 cents a month are gonna throw a fit about it, you know, but like, as somebody who's had you come out several times to read a meter after I've had a leak or trying to see if I had a leak, you know, it would be beneficial. You know, I can see the benefits of it too, so.
Yeah, 'cause leaks don't stop. I mean,
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, how many?
well, you wanna know that you got it
Got it
fixed too,
fixed.
you know, and that's a,
Right.
I don't know. Will,
Scott,
do you
had
have,
something.
Well, I don't know if Tim mentioned this earlier, but I think the thinking is we would also try to focus on outer realm meters first and work our way in. The thinking there is, well, that's the place that we have to drive the farthest to do that servicing, so if we focus on those, it should cut down gas, wear and tear on the vehicles and that kind of stuff over time too. Now, when we discussed all this, I didn't realize that the EPA loan program was available for this. I'm kind of intrigued by that, because, you know, you're talking, if we switched all of them out at one time, we'd be over $600,000.
right.
Okay, so, but, you know.
But even if we bought all of the meters that we have, we couldn't install those probably in one year. I mean,
But-
having the time to do that in 1 year, you're not gonna be able to do that anyway,
No,
you know.
I've seen projects where, you know, a city or village, sometimes these villages got one person. So the install is built into the project, where you do get it done faster.
'Cause you
but
get
of
that
course,
person
you're
just-
getting 50% of that install rather than.
Being an outside source. does
Right,
installs.
so you hire a third party, bid that out and do that that
We'll
way.
work through budget, we'll do it in-house.
Right.
Tim, didn't you mention Virginia's already has this?
Yeah, they have something similar to it.
Yeah, and I would add, got in early, and it is now phasing in and replacing all of the meters they did install. So,
They bought the original technology. Everyone was kind of wrestling to get a hold of this technology and who's gonna have the best system. And, they bought one that is more or less, you get to put up towers and then they connect, they talk to each other. You know, with cellular, it's always there, right?
And I guess that's one of the questions I was thinking of too, you know, inevitably, it doesn't happen very often, but I'd say once every year, each one of this major carriers where cell service craps out, you know, like Verizon did it. I know at least once this year where I couldn't make calls all day long. If that happens, are we still able to read those meters if we need to?
Yeah.
Or do we don't lose that data, it's just stored in that meter if that were to happen
It's stored in the
until?
meter. So the next time that the signal, if we do get a signal, we'll have all that data. We want,
You could still read it manually at that time
right.
if you needed to.
And you know,
That's
when you pull it up, there's a graph that kind of shows you when your high usages are, when your low usages are. And the person that came into the demonstration for us, you know, I've known him for 30 years, because we bought a lot of meters from him. He was talking about how detailed this is. So where he was trying to figure out why he used a 16th or a 10th of a gallon every night while he was asleep. He just couldn't figure out what in the world was this. Well, come to find out it was his ice maker. That's how good. Anyway.
Anybody else have Sandra again?
So it wasn't mentioned, but, barring no issues, I guess, Tim's budgeted this year for the software, and then next year would be for the actual meters. He
Okay.
hasn't bought the software yet,
Right.
that's.
Well, the reason I kind of waited to the end is you just never know what you're gonna have to spend. I just didn't want to blow that money at the beginning of the year and then have to buy a new meter for Petaluma and that would cost $5,000.
Well, I mean, is there a reason to pay for the software for hardware that goes along with it?
Well, we have to get the software first, no matter what.
Right.
And to read the first meter, we have to have software. And they'll do it, come and do the install. It's free customer
And I guess we
service for
could
life.
budget it this year and not spend it till December of next year if we were gonna budget the meters in for the next year, if that's what
Right.
we wanted to do,
And I think we
right?
did 10 meters with the initial purchase and then,
Yeah.
there you go. And then, we'll start purchasing meters next year, or after January 1st. I just didn't wanna since we did budget for it this year, I didn't wanna put it in next year's budget. Does that make sense?
Does anybody else have anything to add?
I mean, the whole reason this hasn't happened until now has been me, because I've not supported it. And it's because I've felt like over the years, that like having that reader out there looking at the meter wells and seeing if that, infrastructure's been backed over by a, whatever, like, and somebody actually laying their eyes on, that whole vast network of infrastructure was important. But I've kind of been, slowly won over time, that, if you just continue to, like, if everybody else around you doesn't think you're right, then maybe I ain't right. So, and that's okay. So I would just say, let's go for it. I think that it would be important for us to sort of crawl before we walk. Like, I worry about, anything that's technology that's in a hole that can fill with water. Like, how is that cellular device? Like, I know if I drop this in my sink, and I know this is overly stupid of me, that it won't work. But I'm gonna put it in a hole in a meter well that could, potentially fill up with water, and like, how durable are they gonna be? So I would just like to see us maybe do 25 or 30 or 40 or at most 50 in the first year, and just sort of really see what kind of durability we're getting with them and that kind of thing. But otherwise, I'm not gonna let my sort of objections or whatever stand in the way.
Harold,
And you do get, when these things are installed, there are instances where usually it's a low-lying area where maybe that meter fills up with water quite often. That, I mean, these things that are antennas and they're built on, mostly onto the bottom of the lid, but some cases they've had to go outside of the meter box. Of course, that presents its own problems with people running over it and going over the top of it,
Right.
and things like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are instances where they have had to do something a little special.
I mean, and ultimately, up with a small percentage, 2-3% of ones that we just can't in there for the next 10 years. We don't charge that
Still-
customer the fee, and we still have a route for somebody to go check that, number of meters, I guess.
If there's a spot where we have that issue.
So if, like Mayor said, if one got damaged, would you get some kind of message and, so we might know about damages quicker also?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it would tell you
If
it
it's
couldn't
out of
read.
service,
Yeah.
it'll red flag and say, hey, you're not serviced, and you haven't received, information from this meter in 24 hours.
I'm assuming it operates off a battery to on them, or by the time the battery runs down, is it time to replace that?
But kind of touched on what Barb had asked us, for 20 years.
20 years. So,
And there are warranties on the ones that, they are water sealed, but if one was happened to leak and use water, they replace it. Yeah. And as far as damage, other communities have put in place ordinances where if you go out and damage this, drill a hole in it thinking you're not gonna get a water bill for the rest of your life, you're gonna pay for it.
I never thought about
Yeah. Well, we have people that they snip
that. Straight pipe that thing.
They can sell it all their products. Snip that, they'll never read that ever again.
We need an ordinance, this to fit. Then do we wanna just kind of agree that we would all like to see that ordinance to vote on for the next meeting, or do we have that?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to vote here, but
Right.
we can get an ordinance ready for it.
I mean, unless anybody is opposed, that's, I guess, the route we should take.
We draft that ordinance to be, to just whatever that charge was, to pass that on to the customer.
To include it in our billing on a month, yeah.
So this year, if they charge us 92 cents, it'll be whatever that charge is.
I'd say that
And
would
next
be
year,
the easiest way,
if it's
rather than
102,
having to address it the ordinance every time it changed.
Instead of, instead of,
Because we make the big bucks, we can get our. That's a sarcasm, you know that.
All right, well then, other than that, if there's any public comment under budget and finance? Hearing none, we can move out of budget.
Thank you, WJ. That takes announced chair by Mr. Mike Austin. Mike?
Hey, thank you, Mayor. Under old business, I want to start off by mentioning a budget issue. We talked about moving the solar project to reintroduce it again in 2025. So I don't know if that's being accounted for in the budget or not, and I don't know if it's something that we need to consider.
Well, we don't have numbers yet.
Right.
That's primarily why, so, if we get a proposal relatively soon, we might be able to do some guesstimations there.
Okay, but we have talked about revisiting that come January, so I want to make everybody aware that that's a project that we decided to hold off on. But anyway, under old business, we've got a continued discussion on forming a cemetery committee. And before I turn it over to Mayor, you all have a form here in your packet. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at that and read that? No? Yeah, okay. All right, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
So as you can see in the ordinance, the cemetery committee is pretty vaguely described. The city cemetery shall be under the supervision of the cemetery committee. It doesn't say how many people it should be, or whether they should live here or in Utah, or whether whatever. But I think that I've assembled some folks who have said that they would be willing to serve, two of which are Crawshaw, who I talked to today. He's, of course, a longtime owner of Crawshaw Funeral Home. He, had a lot of interesting things to say when I talked to him on the phone about different things he's come across over his many years operating a funeral home. I also spoke with Laura Cates Duncan, who's had a great interest in the history of our cemeteries. She's done a lot of logging of various graves on the Find a Grave website. She's hosted cemetery walks in the past on Veterans Day and whatnot for people to come and better understand some of the notable people that are buried in our cemeteries. And so she said she would be willing to serve on there as well. I spoke with both Alderman Austin as Building and Grounds Chair, and also Ms. Jackson, and they would be willing to serve there. I talked to Darren today. I know that he has interaction at the cemeteries on a regular basis, whether it's just helping supervise the mowing contractors or whatever, and so I thought he'd be a good fit there. And then I don't want to leave myself out of the fund, so I've placed myself there, as well as Catherine Volley, who of course has been dealing with
The front line.
the big book at the Dom building. I don't suspect we'll probably have a meeting until after the first of the year with all of the budget meetings we're gonna have and whatnot. I think we'll probably shoot for either this, second or fourth Tuesday in January, one of those afternoons to convene and start considering some of the things that we might do to improve our cemetery operations and answer some of those questions that have been outstanding. So that's what I have to report.
7-person committee is what you're asking? Yep.
I think that's right.
Yep, okay. Is there any other questions from the council?
Well, I do, I'm sorry.
Yep.
On this article, will they be able to go over this and see what we are or not, and are not doing with this current one? Will they, and then bring that to us?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay,
Just
there's things in
update
here
this.
that says the maintenance of the lots and such. We do all the maintenance.
Oh, well, I'm sure that, yes, this
I
will
mean,
be
will
certainly.
that committee have the option of looking at this and say, we need to either enforce this or we need to take this out and bring it to us for?
Well, ultimately, that committee will be making recommendations to the full
recommendations
city
to
council.
us.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we obviously are, or maybe there's been a moratorium on all those payments too. I have no idea. Ever since I've been on here, nobody's paid us anything for maintenance.
Right.
And at least we still outlaw riding horses on the
Yeah, I
open
think
lots
that's
in
good
here.
too. Yeah, I like that.
Well, the
keep the
codification
dogs
that
out
we're
of there.
doing, I don't know.
That's
But, I
probably
mean,
falls
there's so
under-
many, much of this that is,
There's a lot of it out.
Yes,
yes.
definitely.
Exactly. Thank you, Mayor, for talking with those people. I know this has been a big frustration to, well, Catherine more than anybody probably. And I think I realized how frustrating it was until recently. And I truly think this is a good thing, not only for her and the city, but for the families. If
Well,
they
yeah,
can get
definitely.
good information.
Yeah, I was,
And Howard is a encyclopedia of knowledge. I mean,
yeah, and he said to me when we were talking on the phone, he said, I wish my dad was still, here so I could talk to him because he knew more than I've ever known. And he said, and Teresa from Pettit,
oh,
would
yeah,
have been
Teresa
somebody
probably
that
knew a bunch.
would have been, but, obviously that can't be. So it's good to have Howard there
Yeah, we
because
can
I
look
think
at
he
it.
shares some of that, knowledge that they had.
All right. Catherine, do you have anything that you want to add or mention?
Just thank you.
All right. All right, we have, under building and grounds, and do we have any public comment? Mayor, we.
Mike,
Thank you.
so are we gonna amend the chapter, the ordinance at all with the number of members and what their term is? Are we gonna look at doing that?
It might be nice if they met and made some recommendations about that and then let us
And then
do
brought it back.
Okay.
And then brought it back to us and with what they think and then go from there.
I'd like to look at what some of our other committees' structure is, and then maybe just sort of copy
Yeah,
something from
Yeah.
Board of Appeals or something like that.
right.
Mr. Mayor.
If we're looking at modifying any of these things, we might look at paragraphs 924 and 9217, because they both say cemetery funds or cemetery trust accounts shall be established. Well, we did away with those.
We did away with those since I've been
Yeah.
on.
So like, we don't want to be in violation of our own ordinance.
Well, I think we're gonna find a lot of that kind of stuff as we go through all of this, and that's gonna end up, looking a lot different than it looks now. All right, that'll, it's chaired by Ms. Curry Witzman. Jance?
Thank you, Mayor. Under community relations, there is no old business and no new business. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we come out of it.
Thank you, Jance. That takes to public improvement.
Sir, there is no old business, there is there any public improvement?
I had one, Don.
Yes.
I serve on the START board, and we had a meeting yesterday, and it was about the awning that the START is getting city grants and both administrators and for having that program, because I think it's only going to cost the START about $300, and it's going to go on the Kuntz building on 13th Street. So
Yeah.
very appreciative of the program.
Thank you, John. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, that takes us to Public Works, chaired by Mr. McComb. In his absence, we have no old business. Under new business, we have consideration of the oil and chip program for 2025. Mr. Sheffer, is anything to consider here out of the norm?
No, this is the southeast quadrant this year. As always, Darren does drive around, or Board of Aldermen have any suggestions on adding some outside of that quadrant. We typically do that,
Okay.
Southeast.
southeast quadrant, yeah.
Darren, anything to add on this?
No, the only thing that I know we're adding on it so far is just the sewer plant road, because that's asked for that.
Okay.
If anybody has any recommendations, get with me.
It's the newest road we have, Joe.
Did you say the sewer plant road?
All right, well, is there a, do I have a resolution to adopt here tonight?
No.
No.
It's
Okay.
just to start on the budget and stuff, yeah.
All right. Well, if there's no official formal action to take, then I'll move forward and say, is there any public comment on Public Works? Hearing none, I'll come out of that and move to Public Safety, chaired by Mr. John Ernest. John?
Thank you, Mayor. Old business, we have one item, update on animal control facility. Chief, anything new going on?
Harold still in contact with me.
Yeah, we did do soil testing out there for the public health sanitary disposal system, and wasn't good. I mean, the soils are very poorly drained, so I have been talking to Joe Fry with Jackson County Health Department, so hopefully we can come up with something. And we did get another price on the building, which I was gonna send to the chief, and I think at some point, once we get this sewer system worked out, I think we're probably ready to try to meet with Samron and or Fager. Start getting some prices.
Are we gonna have a general enough idea that we're fitting something in the budget for that, or we've already?
We put money in there.
Okay.
Send me you get a report on the soil,
I did, yes.
send that to me.
Okay.
It just boggles my mind that the soil has to be a concrete box underneath it to flush a toilet into.
Well,
I mean, what in the world, like,
I mean, there's two factors here. One is this is more of an extreme waste than
okay,
one would expect, because it's all dogs and it's concentrated, so I thought maybe we'd get by with a couple septic tanks and a drainage field. But
right.
of course, that also limits, the size of the property we got is also an issue, could be on something like that. So I think at the very least, it may be, I mean, it might be a lagoon, and or a
Just
sand
pipe it
filter
to the
or something
river.
like that.
Arbiter's corn would have been 20 foot tall.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I don't always agree with some of these things either, as you know, but we're playing by their rules at this point.
All right.
And I just wanted to, but
Right.
He wants to know that-
How'd they ever do this when all they had was barns, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, have something like.
Somebody's gotta scoop
And
it
is
up.
there any wetland
Yeah,
on
troughs.
it?
probably.
Probably, we'll probably end up purchasing more than that.
Took it that far afield.
All right.
Any comment on that, Harold, or anything else to report? Okay.
All right, thank you for keeping us updated on that. No new business, any public comment on public safety? Move on there.
Case of personnel chaired by Ms. Barbara Hughes. Barbara?
Ma'am, there's no old business, no new business, any public comment on personnel? Personnel have any comment?
All
We can
right.
get out of there, ma'am.
That takes us to the mayor's report. We have with us this evening Mr. Tony Biddle. I appreciate him patiently waiting through the course of the agenda tonight for this appointment. Tony's been working hard on a renovation of a cottage down sort of in the Logan Museum neighborhood-ish. Tony, tell the council a little bit about what you've been doing, a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Tony Biddle. First off, I want to apologize for this having to be tabled from the last meeting. Apologize to the council and to the Mayor Stevens. I inadvertently wrote it on the wrong calendar and was planning on being here last Tuesday. And so I apologize for any problems that may have caused. I'm currently on the Carbondale Preservation Commission. And on several other boards in Carbondale. My daytime job, I'm an archivist for SIU, so I deal with history. That's what I do every day. As I always say, I move old papers from one box to another. It's sort of a simplified way of doing it, but it involves a lot of research and a lot of learning new things every day and learning. Our focus is SIU and Southern Illinois history. So I'm always finding new stuff about Murphysboro. And so my late wife and I renovated a house on Old 13 in Murphy several years ago that my oldest son lives in. We've now recently purchased the Limber Cottage, and we're doing what we can to save that and renovate it. And yesterday, I just started in talks to purchase another house that's on Oak Street that's in danger of falling down.
Is that across the street from the blue house?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, in talking to people around town, it was pointed out, said, well, sometimes we can't make a decision on the Preservation Commission in Murphysboro because we don't have a quorum, because we're down a couple members. And so I said, well, I always love to do anything history related, and with the properties in Murphysboro, I definitely would be interested in serving if considered.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, I think that obviously the background is a good fit, and we appreciate the, sweat equity and money you're putting into preserving what has to be one of the oldest buildings in the whole town, the Limber Cottage. I don't know what year, 1880 something?
I've narrowed it down. I've been in the courthouse in the basement doing research, and I think I have it narrowed down to approximately 1877. Land was purchased directly from General John A. Logan for the house, and I'm almost to a positive date, but Mike Jones always considered it to be the oldest brick home in Murphysboro.
I was the first one to have a fireplace too,
Oh.
that he told me that years ago.
All right, well, is approve the appointment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second. Third.
Gina, write it down now.
Okay. This is the criteria, Mayor. You find a grant to do those brick streets. Okay. That I.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to council member requests. I'll go to Ms. Hughes.
Nothing, Mayor, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hall, I'm so thrilled that you're going to be serving on that committee.
Ms. Curry Witzman.
I don't have anything, Mayor, but I wanted to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mr. Rungy.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of activities and events that take place in this town, and it just amazes me, and I know it's been said before, just to thank the workers in this town, the city workers, willing to help others that are in charge of some of these different events, and I have yet to hear any of them say no, or it's not my job, or anything, and I know Charlie and Darren have just recently, the past 2 days, been dealing with a very massive Christmas tree. And it's standing now, but it just reminded me of how lucky we are to have people all throughout the city employees that are willing to do this. So thanks, you guys and gals.
Here, here. Mr. Austin.
Nothing, sir, thank you.
All right. Ms. Jackson.
Nothing, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Clerk Hunsaker.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Pittman. Mr.
Who's gonna bring it up? Are we meetings for December? What are we doing? Anything special or different or?
Well, the one for Christmas Eve, we'll just, I think, hold off until we get the budget.
Okay. So,
We're gonna keep the first meeting the same. Thank you.
okay, okay. That's it.
Okay.
I'll be gone the 17th, so I'll just. I'll be here if that's.
All right, well, we'll take a look at it. Hopefully we can make it on a date when folks can be here. Schedules get crazy over the next month. Mr. Strack?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Klein?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you. Wes, Mr. Heller? Ms. Ripley?
Thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Nothing, sir.
Chief Ellemeyer? Mr. Manwary?
Wanted to let the council know I've been working with the National Weather Service office in Paducah over the last 6 to 8 months, planning the commemoration of the anniversary of the Tri-State tornado. We've selected a date, March 15th, at the high school. school. We're going to be hosting commemoration ceremonies. There's going to be numerous presenters from across the country that will be coming in, vendors that will be setting up, and several people will have display presentations. So as we have more information, then we'll be sharing that, social media and other avenues. Just want to make the council aware that that date's been set, the location's been set for that.
Awesome. That'll be a very important memorial.
Couple things, we all the construction easements on Enterprise have been cleared by IDOT, so we're taking bids on that one, on that project, December 17th at 10 a.m. And then also the Williams Street relocation due to IDOT project and the big money going underneath that with the new line. We have sent those plans in to EPA, and we'll probably, once I get an IDOT permit, utility permit, we'll probably just go ahead and advertise and bid that one also. It'll probably be first week in January, somewhere around there.
Thank you. Ms. Volley?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Lee?
Yep. To inform you and the council that we have begun construction on the water main replacement on Well Street. And if you guys remember, we purchased that pipe in an effort to give some relief to the customers on Fiddler Road and the higher end of Well Street. So we're about a third way through that already.
Very good. Yeah, I got a message from somebody today on Fiddler Ridge Road who was thankful to see that progress. Mr. Iser?
I sent an email out, I guess, last week on Assistant Code Officer Gary Darnell, kind of give him an attaboy in case you guys didn't get to read that. He's received a blessing in our office. Long story short, he's took the extra steps for the failed system for our seniors. Got a woman removed, the upcoming cold. She had no water, no heat, no electric. Got her some warmth for this, basically for Thanksgiving coming up. So I think if it probably hadn't been for him, I don't think it would have happened. So
That's over and above.
Yeah, definitely. He's been doing a good job and with people and getting a lot more compliance out of folks, and he's been doing a great job. And I've heard that from a multitude of different departments, and so definitely concur with that. Pat? Okay. Darren? All right. No other. Gary? You're gonna arrest me then, goddammit. And there's a standoff, you know, and he's only like 12 feet above it.
Well,
How's Teresa doing?
she's doing well. She's fighting a knee issue for about the last month. She's
Yeah.
we're kind of going through that, trying to rehab a little bit.
That's tough.
How's the boys? They doing all right?
Oh, yeah, they're doing fine. They had their Thanksgiving program at Daniel Lutheran today.
Okay.
The in-laws came, sing a song, and they're doing okay. Man, Lord give me patience.
You'll survive it, believe me.
Yeah.
You'll survive. Oh, when is the tree lighting ceremony?
December the 6th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah. Well, I won't be there on the 4th next week because I have to be in Benton at 5:30 that day, so.
No problem.
Yeah,
the 6th at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. That sounds great.
Okay.
Ron, you guys have